David Cameron's EU referendum bill unlikely to become law. The Conservative Party bill committing Britain to a referendum on European Union membership is unlikely to become law because of delays in the House of Lords, peers have warned. Well, what a surprise. David Cameron now has the perfect excuse about not offering a referendum on Britain coming out of the EU. Because it was somebody else's fault. The peers just couldn't get their act together to pass the law. It would seem politicians can get their act together when it comes to giving themselves a massive pay rise whilst the rest of the country suffer. They can get their act together when they want to authorise water cannons after the London riots a few years ago. They can get their act together to cancel food bank figures that are going through the roof. But when it comes to giving the people a vote on waving goodbye to the very existence of Britain, they can't seem to do the right thing and pass the legislation that would guarantee us a referendum vote. Because the peers just couldn't get their act together. Remember, the vote would only have taken place anyway if the Conservatives win the next election outright, Sunderland win the Premier League and Championship, Eddie the Eagle wins a gold medal, and I think the other condition was that Boo Boo the Panda had to shit on a certain spot at a certain time. Listen, Cameron was never, ever going to offer you and I a referendum on Europe. Because he is not allowed to offer you and I a referendum on Europe. The people who run Cameron, i.e. the Rothschilds and their ilk, will simply not allow the future of Britain to be in the hands of the people. There's too much money for them to make for that. This is why we were never, ever going to be offered a vote. Ever. They were just looking for the right time to break the news to the general public. And of course the brain-dead general public will just accept this without a murmur. They might grunt and fart about it, but within a couple of hours when they've gone on Call of Duty again, they will just simply get on with their lives, accepting anything that is thrown their way. They should be grateful for the crumbs from the table and just shut the hell up. Cameron, Spitty Miliband, and the absolutely pointless Nick Clegg all want more EU integration. They do not want to take us not even 1 ounce further away from the EU. They want us to be completely absorbed by the EU, to become a state of the United States of Europe. All this without you knowing anything about it. It's called lying. It's called being dishonest. It's called being fraudulent, for all of those who don't know. Britain already has at least 75% of its laws dictated to us by unelected bureaucrats in Brussels, and Cameron, Clegg and Spitty Band want this to be 100%. We can't change laws on immigration because of the EU. We can't change laws on NHS tourism because of the EU. We can't change laws on health and safety because of the EU. We can't change laws on environmental issues or anything else because of the EU. Pick a topic, research it, and you will see that the reason for that policy comes from Brussels, not Westminster. The EU is one issue that people are concerned about, and now David Cameron, God rest his soul, can look into the camera with his hand on his heart and say he did his best for his paymasters, the Rothschilds. He did his best for the general public, but those pesky peers just couldn't get their act together, so no referendum will follow once Boo Boo has shat in the correct spot or whatever. So Britain will soon no longer exist. Thank you ever so much, general brain-dead zombie public. It's all your fault for being politically stupid.